Hey everybody, it's Tripl-L. Now let's talk Sword Art Online Alternative Episode 6! Last week was a recap episode, so there wasn't really much of a need to talk about it, but this week we can talk about it. If I was to describe the episode, I would just say ridiculous but chill. It was a chill episode because it was mostly setup, but it was also very ridiculous, and I'm so happy that we have a self-aware protagonist or a self-aware author who is able to say, hey, why don't we take her to a psychiatry office, to a psychiatrist, why don't we call the police? And so ending the episode off with her asking her friend to come help her stop a crazy CEO lady or a crazy company head office lady from killing herself. I think the ridiculousness of that statement, I'm glad that we are acknowledging it to some degree. And like really, this is just an issue of the plot needs to happen, so the ridiculousness has to kind of be like accepted. But I'm just happy that Karen was at the very least questioning what was going on. Anyway, yeah guys, that's the quick blurb. Let's get into the episode. So at this point, Pitohui is crazy. I think M's real life persona did a pretty good job at just categorizing how crazy she is. And again, I like it that M also admits that he's not right in the head. But you know, I'm watching all this happening. I know there's a second squad jam coming up, and I look at it and I realize, like, really, there's no way Pitohui is not Elsa or like some equivalent degree of celebrity. And it's like, it's especially more like obvious like when you consider, well, how did M find Karen and know that she is Lan? Well, there's the fan mail. Just by conservation of detail within a story, that fan mail can't just be something that's thrown in there. It might have like that significance, so that's maybe how they found where she was, found who she was, through the fan mail. Then in the recap episode 5.5, at the end of the episode, Pitohui said that she was going to sponsor the next squad jam, and in this episode they were being, I think, kind of coy with it, if I recall correctly. They didn't say who was going to be sponsoring it, but there was another sponsor for the squad jam. Then you just have like the context that M is throwing in there, like with all of the thing like she made a great choice for her life, for her career. That's why she was a SAO loser. It is just, yeah, there's no way it's not Elsa. There's no way. There's no way. Now, like, one of the things I do find really interesting is the insanity aspect of it. That's the part that I really find interesting. So when they come in and they justify that she won't kill herself if Len wins because there's a promise that has to be kept, I see that, and I keep in mind what they've described the insanity as, and it's like, okay, yeah, like, Pitohui is unhinged enough such that she would most likely use this kind of irrational logic. And one of the best moments of irrationality that I liked when M was describing was how Pitohui was like angry she wasn't in the SAO incident, and then how she described herself. If she was, she could have been one of those guys killing everyone in Laughing Coffin, or otherwise she could have taken down those bastards herself in the killing game. And it's just like, man, alright, I get it. That kind of dichotomy, that does feel pretty crazy. Okay, like, you're selling me on this. And again, like, the fact that the characters are aware of how crazy the situation is in of itself makes it very worthwhile and makes it a little bit easier to digest. Moving on, just within that same point though, one of the things I find it interesting how the term SAO loser comes about in this episode. Like, you would think an SAO loser is the person that died, you know, during the actual SAO incident, but except they're calling the SAO losers people who missed out on logging into SAO on the day of the incident. And I don't think that is a term that the media would have accepted at large, but I think that's a term that would have popped up from people who were thinking that they could have gone in for the experience of SAO. So it illustrates like an aspect of culture, I guess. That's most likely that a term deriving from internet culture of people wishing that they could have been an SAO, or people who had the opportunity to be an SAO but like real life called. And it does frame what the perspective that Pito Hui in particular has for the world here, that she wanted to be in that experience. Truthfully though, guys, like all things considered, someone who only has death on the mind and is like so like up in arms and like, you know, just wants to feel the thrill of battle. Truthfully, that type of person maybe should go to a mental institute. And if Elsa is like one of those, if it's actually Elsa, it's one of those stories where a celebrity is actually fighting depression or like some really serious issues. But like, Pito Hui in particular, she's just turning it into like, she turns it. It's verging on homicidal. Yeah, no, she's gonna kill M. She's ready to kill herself. Yeah, that's a person you put in a mental ward. I wonder if that's a statement about mental health in Japan. I don't know enough about Japan's mental health statement. Oh wait, no, I do. They suicide a lot, so actually. Anyway, it's interesting how deranged Pito Hui has to be in order to up the stakes for this upcoming arc. And you know, that is a good point too. Like, what would it be Sword Art without someone's life like hinging in the balance based on an outcome of a game? It wouldn't be Sword Art, right? Because you always need to have someone's life in the balance being determined by a game for it to be Sword Art Online. And how I feel about it overall, like, you know, I was really liking this. We're just dealing with like the game stuff, but at the very least, I like that they're making it personal, and I like that they're putting it on the person herself killing herself, right? Because at least you don't take away the sense of autonomy of a person, right? At the end of the day, it's still character driven. It's still Pito Hui. Mind you, she has to be insane for it to work, but it's still Pito Hui pulling the trigger, so to say, on herself. And really, like, were there any other ways that you could like raise the stakes for this type of plot? Yeah, I think there were other ways, but in terms of other ways in current anime and manga that have occurred, not really in Japanese anime and manga. I can't really recall any fantasy video game style story that doesn't involve people's lives as a way to raise stakes and make it more interesting. But at the end of the day, it's still a conflict between Len and Pito Hui, and they're ultimately relying on the fact that Karen has to be this good. And yeah, overall, I think it's an interesting time. I'm excited to see the next episode, because like, I know it's still gonna be like, I know we're not gonna get anything ridiculous when we're seeing the gunfights happening. It's just gonna be Len and Pito Hui like facing off against each other, and M's also gonna be there, and M's so good. If M's gonna be such an active adversary, I like that we got to see how effective he is, because then it's like, okay, well, I recognize the threat that M is, so this is gonna be really interesting. But I do want to see what we're gonna do with Len, because Len is ridiculously competent. She's way more competent than we could have expected, and we can assume this competency is coming from her history of player killing, but it's still like, Len's competent. She may not understand the certain like mechanics of the guns, but she's super competent. And then we have that whole P-Chan thing. Len might be stumbling into a secret programming thing in the game. I really want to see how we're gonna make Len super effective, because her climb to the top is also one of those things that's kind of murky with the show. But we'll have to see. The only other thing that was in the episode was we got the introductions of the girl crew, and that was cool. That was just slice of life, though. I think the most interesting thing is really with M showing up in the episode. One last thing is that you look at M's looks, and there's no way this kid ain't part of a boy band group in Japan. Like, come on, look at how handsome he is. Come on. Anyway, M's crazy, Pito Hui's crazy, and Len's being roped into this. What a time. What do you guys think about Sword Art Online Alternative Episode 6? Let me know down below. But till next time, I hope you have a great day.